here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well, the crows would have you believe that it is an involved process that takes years of training. The sort that tests both your resolve and your endurance. Survive that process and maybe, just maybe, you're good enough to start being considered one of them. But quite frankly, the truth is that all it requires is the desire to kill people for a living. It's surprising how well one can do in such a field. Within the crows, I did. But it has been something the crows have devoted a great deal of time to perfecting. An assassin simply specializes in striking from stealth, and in maximizing that first attack to be as lethal as possible. Debilitate your foe, either by poison or by crippling their limbs, makes any follow-up combat you need to engage in that much simpler. See? Getting paid for the act is beside the point. An assassin is more a tactical choice than a lifestyle. Of course, the crows like to pretend that their abilities are trade secrets, shrouded in shadows and wrapped in a blanket of mystery. So let's just keep this between you and me, shall we? Hmm?
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Old Age. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Many legends have familiar forms and themes. We enjoy them so because we know them. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney. But Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Avelin's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Avelin and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Avelin the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Well, if Flemeth really exists, she would be very, very old indeed. Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. A long time ago, there lived a fair maiden called Elindra. She had many suitors, but spurned them all, for she did not love them. One day, Elindra was sitting by her window in her father's castle, singing and dreaming, when her lovely voice caught the attention of a young soldier. Entranced by her song, the soldier drew near to Elindra's window. As their eyes met, he fell in love with her, and she with him. When Elindra told her father about the man she had chosen, he was furious, for Elindra was high-born, but her love nothing more than a common soldier. To keep them apart, he had Elindra imprisoned in the highest tower of his castle, and sent her soldier to the wars. Alas, not a month had passed before news of the soldier's death reached Elindra. Alone in her tower, Elindra wept for her love, and beseeched the gods to deliver her from this cruel world. So earnest was her plea, that the gods themselves were moved. they gathered Elindra into their arms and lifted her high into the heavens, where she became a star. The gods also raised up the soul of Elindra's soldier love, and there he dwells, across the horizon from her. The band of stars between them is a river of Elindra's tears, cried for her lost love. They say that when Elindra has cried enough, she will be able to cross the river to be reunited with her soldier. All right, it is my job to spin yarns after all. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. There were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved, and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathos, the capital of Tevinter. The Tevinter Chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
I must ask, what does being a Grey Warden mean to you? There's that, of course. But there's more to being a Grey Warden than killing Darkspawn and saving the world from the Blight. Ultimately, Being a Grey Warden is about serving others, about serving all people, whether elves or dwarves or men. As a Grey Warden, you are a guardian of men, and you guard them because their continued existence is more important than you are. Thus it is you who serves, not they. A good king, a true king who cares for his land, uses his power to rule firmly but fairly. He serves his people first and foremost. The king who does not do this, who believes that he is entitled to his power, who abuses it and uses it for his own means, is a tyrant. And the country suffers for it. If you live apart from others, and your actions affect only you, then you may do as you wish. But if you have power, influence, and strength, your every action will be as a drop of water in a clear, still pond. The drop causes ripples, and ripples spread. Think of how far they will go, how wide they will become, how will they affect the pond. But I've lectured enough for today. I should stop before I wear out my welcome.
We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. Perhaps? Shall I consult my capricious nature and divine an answer for you? Am I to be interrogated? However shall you wring my secrets from me?
Indeed.
Yes.
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 Darkspawn!
No mercy. I love this game.
Don't give them the advantage!
Trap right ahead. I shall. It's done. On my way.
What is it?
Ask me anything.
I fell. For a moment there, I thought I thought it was all over. Everything. I will explain everything when we are back at camp. Now is not the time.
What can I do for you, Ward? Certainly.
am here. Oh, marvelous.
Hey.
I think I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier. You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. You spoke to Petra, did you not? She told you I saved her from a demon. I did, but I did not survive that encounter. It's not a joke, I promise. Let me explain. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained. It took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed a presence enfolding me and cradling me, whispering quietly to me. The sensation is impossible to describe. I was being held back, firmly but gently, as a mother would a child eager to slip from her grasp. I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins again. I began to be aware of small sounds and the discomfort of my hip pressing into the cold stone of the tower floor. The Fade contains spirits both benevolent and malicious. The benevolent spirits seldom make themselves known, because they want nothing from mortals, unlike the demons. It was one of these spirits that saved me. Without it, I would be dead. And it has not left me. It is with me, even now, bonded to me. You see, I am supposed to be dead. It is the spirit that is keeping me in this world. And this is not the way of things. Perhaps the spirit did not expect this, but it is weakening gradually. I am living on borrowed time. I do not know. I can feel when the spirit weakens, so I should have fair warning. But come, let us not talk about this. There is time yet. Oh, marvelous.
A fine gift. You have my thanks. A fine gift. You have my thanks. A fine gift. You have my thanks. I notice that you are spending a great deal of time with that girl, the bard. Oh, I'm not opposed to the girl. She seems agreeable enough for the sort of man who likes that sort of thing. My point is that you and I have shared a bed together. It seems hardly fitting to have you doting upon that girl at the very same time, does it? Is that so? Perhaps you should make that suggestion to Leliana. I imagine that her reception will be as chilly as mine. The crux of the matter is this. I do not share. If you wish to pursue that girl, that means you do not wish to pursue me. 'Tis all the same to me. I will not be where I am not valued. I simply wish to know where I stand. No, that's not what I'm saying. You need to pay attention. You are impossible. We have no idea what will happen in days to come, to talk of such things now. In fact, we need not discuss it at all. 'Twas an errant thought, nothing more. I would not worry about it. Things have a way of working themselves out, yes? Let us speak of this another time. A fine? I have something for you. Tis a ring. Now, before you get any foolish notions, let me explain. Flemeth once gave me the ring because it allowed her to find me no matter where I went, in case I was ever captured by hunters. I disabled its power as soon as we left the wilds. Recently, however, I thought to change it. Now, I will be able to find whoever wears it instead. It is not to track you, you understand. I believe you are too important to risk. If you were to get captured, however, it would be far easier to find you with this. Flemeth used to say that 'twas a link between us, one that I presumed worked both ways. I never tested it, but I doubt she would have lied over such a thing, so it would mean I am linked to you as much as you to I. I do not know. As I said, I never tested it. Perhaps. If you think the ring is laced with a deadly poison or worse, then refuse it. Perhaps it was foolish of me to offer it. I have no desire to see us part company so soon. Not unless we wish to, that is. Do not read more into it than is there. You have supplied me with equipment. Certainly this is not so very different, is it? Now you are mocking me. Do you wish the ring or not? I am tempted to simply keep it. You are welcome. Perhaps it will be useful someday.
I see you're still with Morrigan. I thought you said she didn't mean anything to you. What are you playing at? You tell me you like me, that I mean something to you, and you have her on the side? It's not fair to either Morrigan or me. Do you say the same things to her that you say to me? But you've said such things to me. Were they lies? Have you been playing with my feelings? And I believe you when you say that. The woman is a vile fiend. I doubt that very much. I don't understand. What do you mean? I never thought of it that way. I suppose we all have our little gifts. Of course. I did not realize that. It is so strange how long-held beliefs just seem natural and right. Like there is no other way to feel. I think that would be nice. You are my dearest friend and my love, and I will stand with you to whatever end. Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? Of course. Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Which one? It will come to you soon, I'm sure.
We're in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any. Ah.
Here I am. Oh, I certainly could, but I won't. I swore to the crows that the things they taught me were to remain a secret. And while, yes, they are already angry at me, I'd rather not push things, you see. If you are truly insistent, well, let me think about it. The crows are already angry at me, yes? Who knows?
You're quite taken with each other, aren't you? I've noticed your blossoming relationship, and I wanted to ask you where you thought it was going. Liliana is a remarkable girl, sincere and guileless, and she has opened her heart to you. I would not like to see her hurt. You are a Grey Warden. You have responsibilities which supersede your personal desires. Love is ultimately selfish. It demands that one be devoted to a single person who may fully occupy one's mind and heart to the exclusion of all else. A Grey Warden cannot afford to be selfish. You may be forced to make a choice between saving your love and saving everyone else. And then what would you do? Nothing is certain. Not in these times. You cannot take anything for granted. I want you to be aware of this. I am just trying to minimize the suffering that may come to either of you. I have given my advice. Do with it what you will.
Very well.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
that...
Yes.
There you are. We have brought lyrium and begun preparations for the ritual. We can start any time. Yes, we haven't sufficient lyrium at present to send more than one mage into the Fade. It only works because the child gave himself to the demon willingly. If the demon takes over the host forcibly, we must slay the abomination. We have only enough lyrium for one attempt. I hope you succeed. Such a young lad deserves better than execution. It truly depends on the manner of demon. It sounds like a spirit of greed and desire, one of the more powerful in the hierarchy. It will likely engage you in dialogue and tempt you with an offer. Avoid it. Making deals with demons never turns out well.
I'm glad we decided to take this route. This is really the best option.
Very well. Who will go into the Fade?
What? Me? Are you sure?
Loose a blood mage into the Fade to meet a demon? What if he takes control of it?
I've never done it. I wouldn't even know how.
So you claim. We have no idea how far Jowan's abilities have progressed, or that we can even trust him. You trust too much and too quickly, but I shall do as you ask.
I'll do my best. I promise.
Is that you, Connor? I can hear you! I'm coming!
Father! Where are you? I don't understand. It's so cold.
You there? Have you seen my son? I can hear him, but I cannot find him. This blasted fog has me turning in circles.
Al-Eamon, do you remember me?
You traitor!
I guess you do.
Stay away from my son! Stay away! Connor, we must flee! Where are you? Is anyone out there? Hello?
Right away.
Who are you? Are you the one that made Father ill? Tell me now!
Hello, Connor. I'm here to help your father.
No! You're here to hurt Father! I know it! I won't let you! You! You're the one making Father sick!
Why do you keep hurting me? Why are you trying to stop me?
We don't have to fight. I just want to save Connor and Arl-Eamon.
I will not speak with you! Trespasser! I will drive you out! You can't stop me! Get out of here! You have to get out!
Father wanders, seeking me, trapped within my web. All is as it should be. Why must you interfere?
Everything ends. They'll never let you get away with this.
Connor invited her to come, and they struck a bargain. She has every right to do as she wishes. No, it is time for you to go now. Do not persist, or things will go very badly for you.
Very well. No more illusions. Now we meet face to face. You see my true form, and stand in my domain. It is here I am most powerful. And yet I have no wish to engage your power, nor should you be so eager to engage mine. Perhaps we should converse instead?
I've been given a chance to do something good for a change. I'm not going to throw it away.
Alas, that is sad. Very well then. If you wish a battle, you will have it. Let us see if your power matches your boldness, creature.
So it is over. Connor is his old self. He does not seem to remember anything, which is a blessing. I suppose we will need to send him to the Circle of Magi's tower for training, once the war is over. It's so odd to think of the boy as a mage, of all things. Eamon has much to mourn and rebuild should he recover. But at least he could be thankful that both his son and wife are safe.
I owe you my deepest thanks. I can scarcely believe Connor is the boy he once was.
There is still the matter of Jowan. You trusted him and he saved Connor's life. I am unsure of what to make of that. We will hold him for Eamon to decide his fate. If he doesn't recover, Jowan's fate is sealed. What do you think? You spoke with him, have you not? You know what he has done better than I do, even. I would not trust him, but I would not presume to tell my brother what to do. What do you mean? He is responsible for many of the problems here, and is a Maleficar as well.
Released? Are you mad? Why would you do such a thing?
I agree with Isolde. He's a Maleficar. We cannot simply unleash him on the land and ignore his crimes. Perhaps you are correct. But that is Eamon's decision, not mine. I'm sorry. Jowan stays in the dungeon for now. But our task is not done yet. Whatever the demon did to my brother, it seems to have spared his life, but he remains comatose. We cannot wake him.
The urn. The urn of sacred ashes will save Eamon. That is true. I did. Come speak to me once this is over, and you shall have your reward.
Very well. Let us concern ourselves with the urn, then. It has been tried, and we will continue trying. Perhaps the demon's absence will make a difference. However, the relic is another option.
My husband funded the research of a scholar in Denerim, a brother Genetivi. He has been studying the inscriptions on Andraste's birth rock. When Eamon fell ill, I sent the knights to speak to Genetivi. I hoped that he had finally discovered the location of the urn of sacred ashes itself. They were unable to locate Genetivi. In desperation, I sent more knights in search of the brother, or some clue of the urn's location.
I have nothing to give you, except, if we are fortunate, my brother and the armies he can muster. But for that, we need the urn. If you wish more, speak with him once he is revived. Eamon is well respected and powerful. He can pull Ferelden together. If you wish to fight the Darkspawn, you will need him. I must organize Eamon's knights as they return, draft new soldiers, and prepare the army to fight. I shall hand Redcliffe back to Eamon when he awakens, and in a state where it can be of some use in the coming war. Truly, what other choice do I have? No one else can. Even if I wished to do it myself, I cannot abandon Redcliffe to its own devices. Perhaps you could seek out the brother's home in Denerim and see if any clues remain on his whereabouts. It is the only place to begin the search, I think. I must go to the hall and begin rebuilding. I wish you luck, and may the Maker go with you.
You saved my son's life, as well as my own. You have more than earned your reward. This staff belonged to my grandfather. He was a mage as well. Connor no doubt owes his abilities to him. The one good thing that came out of my grandfather's life was this staff. It is said to possess great power, though I never thought I might have a use for it. I don't know if you can use it, but it is by far the most valuable thing I own. Please accept it, with my thanks. Then I will do that. When he is older. Thank you again. Now I pray you can save my husband. If my son is to live, I do not wish him to be without a father. I have faith that you will find a way to help my husband.
You're the one who saved me. He did. I didn't know that. I hope Father gets better soon. He will, won't he?
As you say.
They're keeping me here until the Arl revives. If he revives. I suppose that's better than nothing. You're letting me out? And what then?
Are you truly suggesting just letting him go? A dangerous blood mage? I guess not.
Then I'll go. If you can help anyone here, tell them I never meant for it to end like this.
As you like. Oh, marvelous.
Return. Might you have news? Unchanged, I'm afraid. We've tried more magical healing, but nothing works. As time passes, I become more and more convinced the urn might be our only hope. Yes, but they are returning slowly. No doubt the war's progress, as well as the Darkspawns, hinders many of them. Then I must resume my duties. The civil war continues, and Loghain is no doubt angered Redcliffe has not been disabled. Good luck, my friend. I hope this continues to go well for all our sakes.
I shall do it.
Now that we're back at the camp, I want to talk about what happened at Redcliffe. I just wanted to thank you. You went out of your way to save the Isle's family, and you did it. Even though it would have been easier not to. There's been so much death and destruction. It makes me feel good that at least we were able to save something. No matter how small. I owed the Isle that much. You're right. Hopefully, by that time, there's still enough of Ferelden left to save. Good. Now that the warm, fuzzy part of the day is over with, we can get back to the ritual dismemberments. Oh wait, it's not Tuesday, is it?
Here I am. Oh, this should be good. Go ahead. Well now, I imagine that's a very fair question. Being an assassin, after all, is a living, at least as far as such things go. I was simply never given the opportunity to choose another way. So, if that choice presents itself, why should I not seize upon it? Now that you mention it, I am not entirely certain. I was but a boy of 7 when I was purchased. For 3 sovereigns, I'm told. Which is a good price, considering I was all ribs and bone and didn't know the pommel of a dagger from the pointy end. The Crows buy all their assassins that way. Buy them young, raise them to know nothing else but murder. And if you do poorly in your training, you die. Of course. You compete against your fellow assassins, and those who survive are rightfully proud of it. In Antiva, being a crow gets you respect. It gets you wealth. Gets you women. And men. Or whatever it is you might fancy. But that does not mean doing what is expected of you always. And it means being expendable. It's a cage, if a gilded cage. Pretty, but confining. And become the next mark for some up-and-coming crow? Not likely. The only way to leave is for them to think you're dead. And even then, you'd best be scarce. As for what I'll do in the future, presuming that there is one, I truly can't imagine. It might be interesting to go into business for myself, for a change. Far away from Antiva, of course. For now, naturally, I go where you go. And here I am, happy to be had. Isn't it wonderful how things work out that way? Come now, enough chit-chat. Talking about the crows summons them, you know. Any Antivan fishwife could tell you so.
What's on your mind? I have always had an affinity for the spirits of the Fade. As a child, I never feared my dreams because I knew they were there. I've always been able to feel the spirits, even if I never saw them. And as I nurtured my talent in the circle, I became more sensitive. I began to notice every time I was in the Fade, whether it was in a dream or in magical practice, that I was being watched. I suppose they must. It is these benevolent spirits that create our dream worlds in the Fade. Sometimes I would see it, a glowing, nebulous form. Most times I would just feel its presence, gentle and comforting, but somehow alien. I think it is a spirit of faith. They have never been seen before, and perhaps I am wrong. But something tells me I'm not. It always felt like the same entity. This one spirit was curious about me, and was guarding me, for want of a better word. There were times when I was in the Fade that it seemed to stretch forth to shield me, keeping me safe. And I think it gave me strength in my most terrible battles, Ostagar being one of them. I don't know why I was chosen. Perhaps it knew that there was something more that lay in store for me. I like to think that I was given a rare chance, and I'm going to make the best of the time so generously given to me. I will not lie motionless in a bed with coverlets up to my chin, waiting for death to claim me. That is not the death for me. And so I will fight alongside the Grey Warden, and help prepare him for the task that is yet before him. So you had better listen to me, because I swear, if I should fall before the end and you don't seem to be doing things properly, I'll get up again to give you a good finger-wagging. You know, I think you'll be all right, even without my help.
Well, aren't you sweet and attentive? I thought you'd never ask. Indeed.
Indeed.
Yes.
Sire, I have more news. Yes. Well, it seems that the fighting has gone exactly as you...
I would like to know what you intend to accomplish, Father. Should we not be fighting the Darkspawn instead of each other?
The nobility should be brought into line and then the Darkspawn defeated. This is no true blight, Honora. Only Kaelin's vanity demanded it be so.
Beg pardon, sire. But blight or no, we may not have the manpower to face the Darkspawn soon.
Kaelin approached your legions for support, did he
Never!
not?
Marek and I drove those bastards out! Not roll out the welcome for them now!
We need help, Father. We cannot deal with this crisis alone.
Ferelden will stand on its own! I will lead it through this, Honora. You must have faith in me.
Did you kill Kaelin?
Kaelin's death was his own doing.
You have fine weapon and arms, dwarven.
I imagine you have already composed a suitable ballad to commemorate the events at Redcliffe,
against his children. Why would I do such a thing?
They shall be named Malefica.
You have taken up your instruments
They
once
shall find
again,
no
have
rest
you
in
not?
this world
so to
or
speak.
beyond.
A bard takes events of great import and puts them to tale.
What happened at Redcliffe was horrible. So many people died, and they were violated by unimaginable evil forces.
That was not so difficult, was it? You may wish to add music, however.
You make it sound as if you enjoyed what happened there. I can barely stomach to think of it.
But we were successful in the end. Victory without cost has little worth.
I just think of what that poor little boy went through. No, I don't want to glorify what happened there.
Then who will learn from these events? I would think on it some more, were I you.
The deep dark before dawn's first light seems eternal. But no.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you back. I've got complaints in the Nord Noble Tavern that some mercenaries have invaded. Nothing violent has happened. The sellswords are probably just disturbing the nobles' rarefied conversation. Just drum the louts out of there. The barkeep doesn't mind some blood. Or sport, as she called it. Captain said Denerim won't miss a few dead mercenaries. Do what you will, and good luck.
You're back. You need something? I don't know what you mean. You should keep your voice down. People might get the wrong idea. Better trade cities to the north, but plenty good trade here. Now with war and blight, business is bad.
What can I get you, stranger? What can I get you, stranger?
What are you looking at? We're the Crimson Oars. You haven't heard of us. We're mercenaries from all over the world. We have won many battles, and tonight we drink before the next. We happen to like the ale better here, the wine too. Less vomits on the floor. So long as we're paying, they're serving! Ha ha! Ha ha! You may have a point. Barwoman, you and your women are too old and shriveled. Too many damn clothes, right, boys? Ha ha ha! Oars, we go to the docks. Let's find us some wenches!
Maker's blessings upon you, Warden.
Let me ask you this then, Morrigan. What if there really was a Maker?
Then I would wonder why he has abandoned his creation. It seems terribly irresponsible of him.
He left us because we were determined to make our own way, even if we hurt ourselves. And he could not bear to watch.
But how do you know? You cannot ask him this. Perhaps he has gone to a new creation elsewhere and abandoned this as a dismal failure best forgotten.
I do not need to know, because I have faith. I believe in him and feel his hope and his love.
Faith. How quickly those who have no answers invoke that word.
How can someone who practices magic have so little capacity to believe in that which he cannot see?
Magic is real. I can touch it and command it, and I need no faith for it to fill me up inside. If you were looking for your higher power, there it is.
But only if you can control it. I do not envy the loneliness you must feel at times, Morrigan.
Leave me be. Loneliness would be preferred to this endless chatter.
A little bird told me one of Logan's friends had an accident. Terribly unfortunate. You might want to look in the chest behind me. There might be something of interest.
Welcome back. Is there something else you'd like to look at? Only the finest crafts, straight from Orzammar. In times like this, surely your group could use some extra protection on the road.
Ah, here you are again. What can I do for you? All right. Farewell.
From the lowest slaves? No time for chat, dear. It's mealtime.
Sister, that's hardly polite.
It's true, though, isn't it? Doesn't the chant say, you may not lie, for there is only one truth?
Blessings of the Maker and of Andraste, his bride, upon you.
Edwina sends her thanks for getting rid of the Crimson Oars. Mind you, she's disappointed there was no fighting. Here's payment. You've helped out a great deal.
My boss says you've been hired to track him. I say you're done. Get them!
Enemy! As you like. Welcome back. What can I get for you, honey? Wait here. Here they are. Aren't they beautiful? Remember, 30 silver up front. Go ahead and choose, then.
Follow me, cutie. A dangerous weapon. Let me sheath it. Mmm.
I'm here.
I heard you have some damning evidence. Who's destined for the gallows now?
These markings of yours, they have a certain appeal. They remind me of how we used to paint our faces in Orlais.
Ah, but these are not just paint.
Do they mean anything to you, these symbols?
Some do. Some symbols are sacred to the crows. I am not permitted to tell you what they mean. Others are there to accentuate the lines of the body, its curves and musculature. It is hard to
Welcome to the wonders of Thedas. We carry items crafted by the Circle, as well as a variety of antiquities. Is there anything you would like to see?
As you like.
Yes? What are you doing here? My name is Waylon. I'm the assistant of the scholar Brother Genitivi. This is his house. He's an eminent scholar and researcher who serves the Great Chantry. When you first came in, I was hoping that you had news of Brother Genitivi. Wishful thinking, it seems. I haven't seen Brother Genitivi in weeks. He said no word. It's so unlike him. I'm afraid something has happened. Genitivi's research into the urn may have led him into danger. Perhaps the urn has been lost for a reason. I pray for Genitivi's safety, but hope dwindles with each passing day. I tried to send help, but some knights came from Redcliffe looking for him not long ago. I sent them after Genitivi, and they too have disappeared. Now don't ask me where they went. You'll go after them. And what if ill luck should befall you too? This search is a curse on all of us. Some things are not meant to be found. I know that now. So be it. All he said before he left was that he would be staying at an inn near Lake Calenhard, investigating something in that area. I don't know. All I discovered from going through his research was that he was staying at the inn. Yes, of course he told me, but I also went through his things to see if I could find other clues to his whereabouts. No, I didn't. Everything pointed to the same place. You're wasting time. If you insist on going after Brother Genitivi, you should leave as soon as possible. I am just his assistant. I just follow instructions. Yes, of course. Thank you for your concern. It's been a very difficult time for me, and sometimes I don't know what to think or feel. I want Genitivi to be rescued, but I don't want more people to be hurt. You understand, don't you? Good luck. May you find the answers you seek.
Vraska.
Yes.
Why are we always attracting danger? I need to rest.
Command me.
Of course. Yes, of course. What was that soup you made for supper last night?
Oh, that's a traditional Ferelden lamb and pea stew. Do you like it?
Oh, so it was lamb then. It had a certain texture I don't normally associate with lamb.
They didn't make lamb and pea stew for you in Lothering?
We ate simply there. Whole grains made into biscuits or bread, and vegetables from the garden, cooked lightly. No heavy stews.
Ah, so the last lamb you had was probably cooked Orlesian style. Food shouldn't be frilly and pretentious like that. Now, here in Ferelden, we do things right. We take our ingredients, throw them in the largest pot we can find, and cook them for as long as possible until everything is a uniform grey colour. As soon as it looks completely bland and unappetizing, that's when I know it's done.
You're having me on.
Ha! You need to eat in more Ferelden inns.
Welcome back to the Spoiled Princess. How may I serve you today? Brother no, of course not. I've never heard of him. No, I haven't seen any knights. Why would I be nervous? Listen, the person you're looking for isn't here. You should be on your way as soon as possible. They're watching me. I can't speak openly. Don't look around and keep your voice down. They're looking for anyone asking for this brother Genitivi. They told me to act like nothing's wrong and just deny ever having seen the brother or the knights. I don't know. You should be on your guard and leave quickly. I don't know what happened to the knights, but I doubt it was anything good. Goodbye, and make her turn his gaze on you.
We might want to walk softly here. Watch out! Let's make this quick! I can't think this is a good day.
What would you like?
Ask me anything.
You dealt with them! Oh, Maker, I thought this nightmare would never end. Thank you so much. They said they'd kill my wife and son if I said anything about them. Do you know who they were? On Droste's ashes? The legend? Maker's breath. I probably shouldn't ask. I'm just an innkeeper trying to make his way through life. There are some things I don't need to know. Thank you again. You'll always be welcome here.
You know, I've heard about the Orlesian bards.
Who hasn't? They are quite famous after all.
The stories I heard were a little racier. It had to do with how a bard assassinated her target, how they were lulled into complacency.
If those stories were true, who would ever agree to entertain a bard in their court?
Oh, I don't know. There's a certain allure to danger, isn't there? And besides, you couldn't all be assassins, could you? I'd take my chances. If the stories were true, that is.
We had rules about that sort of thing. Strict rules.
Such as? You're not going to tell me, are you?
Let's just say I had plenty of reasons to join the Chantry, shall we? And leave it at that.
Oh, blast it.
Yes.
Your direction?
You need me?
I heard you have some damning evidence. Who's destined for the gallows now? Ah, the old one. Well, this does him in for sure. The gods can't ignore this. Of course, we've got to find him first. Watch yourself out there.
So I see you are quite the little deceiver after all.
Finally decided to gloat, have you?
It simply suits my view of the Chantry that one of their devoted sisters should turn out to be so full of hypocrisy.
There are good people in the Chantry. Many good people who are just there.
I have something for you. The market district is a whole sight better because of what you've done for us. I know this may not be much, but it's an extra thanks. A lot of folks swallow whatever lies are fed to them, but us believers will try and spread word about you and the Wardens. Thanks. Thanks for the help you've given. Unfortunately, I have more headaches.
What can I get you, stranger? Maker's blessings upon you, Warden.
So I wonder, do you intend to take her place now?
Take her place? What do you mean?
As the new Witch of the Wild. That was her title, no? When one slays the queen, it's assumed they'll take her throne.
Considering the throne is a small shack in the middle of a cold wilderness, I think I may just pass.
And why would you lie to me, I wonder?
Ah, is this the part where you hint at some subtle plot of mine? Because you are so very perceptive?
So you didn't know what your mother planned until you read it in that book. That's what you said.
That is correct.
I admire you. You are a wicked, wicked woman.
And you are a fool who spends far too much time on his hair.
Find everything you need? Deal? Oh, I don't know what you mean. But if anything interesting happens, feel free to come back and consider that chest yours. I never said that. I'm just curious about various people in your kingdom. And sometimes I seem to misplace large pouches of coin. I'm quite careless that way.
Alright, yes. You kill them, look in the bleeding chest.
Happy? Everything clear? Now, if you don't mind.
Yes, of course.
Find everything you need? Deep. But if anything interesting happens, feel free to come back and consider that chest yours. Payment? Oh, just make sure you drop by from time to time. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I'll do it.
You're back? I'm glad you are alive, of course. If you live, then my fellows have failed. I can see their deaths in your eyes. I knew them well. My brothers died in the service of Andraste. May she draw their souls to her and cast yours into oblivion. For Andraste!
I shall. On my way. It's done. Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this? There's terrible news. Everyone is talking about a battle in the north between Loghain's men and Ban Bronik. The Ban was utterly crushed. Someone told me that he was meeting with Loghain to talk terms, but I don't believe it. Surely Loghain would never attack someone attempting to parley. That's what I've heard on the road, anyhow. Take it for what it is. I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Enchantment? Enchantment!